Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing very well. So yeah, let's just jump right into this video. I thought this would be a great premise for a INFP video, which is basically I choose occupations, careers, jobs, some that are suited for INFP and some that are comically not suited, and then have AI grade each one on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as how compatible it is or not, and also give pros and cons. And so I'm using Perplexity AI, and it's using the reasoning model, which at one time was DeepSeek, but I don't know what it is now, but it's the reasoning model. So it's going to pull in a bunch of different resources and kind of reason with itself. Kind of goes back and forth. It's pretty interesting, but anyways, it's pretty good. I think we can just jump into it, and I'm just kind of read them off. One thing I will say is, like, even some of the jobs that are horrible for INFPs, like it did actually, like in the pros section, it actually gave some insights that I hadn't thought of. So even some of the jobs that would be a nightmare, like it does pull out some pros, if you can even imagine that. It's kind of crazy, but let's jump into it. I'm starting off with librarian, which is let me just go to the other screen here. Yep, so here's my prompt. Please give the pros and cons, and then score a 1 to 10 for the compatibility, etc. So for librarian, it says librarian careers offer a strong alignment with many INFP personality traits, but also present challenges that might require consideration. And here's detailed analysis. And so it's going to do this for all the jobs. And so for the pros, meaningful service, INFPs thrive in roles that allow them to positively impact others, such as helping patrons access knowledge or conduct research. Yeah. Quiet, creative environment. Absolutely. Autonomy. Many librarian roles involve independent work with books, archives, or research projects, etc. Like, I think so far it's like almost a dream job, right? Quiet, autonomy, meaningful type work. Values alignment. The role supports INFP's strong moral compass through community service and educational, kind of. Cons, public interaction demands. Reference librarians frequently field routine queries, printer help, bathroom directions that some INFPs may find monotonous. True. Collaboration requirements, blah, 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 blah. Educational barriers, probably not for most INFPs, as we're academic fluent, I think, in a lot of ways. Conflict avoidance culture. The field's tendency to sidestep controversy could frustrate INFPs seeking deeper philosophical engagement. I don't know. It gives a compatibility score of 8 out of 10, which I think is pretty accurate. I think it could be 9 at the high end and low, probably 7 on the low end. But anyways, let's move on. Let's go to a Navy SEAL. This is one of the first ones where I think it's a little bit hilarious to think about. So Navy SEAL careers present significant challenges for INFPs, but offer limited alignment with core personality strengths. And the analysis, mission-driven purpose. SEAL operations focus on protecting others, aligns with INFP desire for meaningful, value-based work. Yeah, I mean, we, to an extreme, I think, are always rooting for the underdog, although, fellow SEAL team members are not really underdogs, but I mean, you might get some value out of protecting them. Team camaraderie, opportunities for deep loyalty bonds with unit members should satisfy. Yeah, I think that's true. Skill diversification, training exposes INFPs to varied disciplines, medical, technical, tactical, that might engage their curiosity. It's stretching a little bit, but sure. Cons, personality mismatch. SEALs typically score high in extroversion and assertiveness, 93%, versus INFP's introversion, creating fundamental temperament conflicts, for sure. Emotional stressors, constant High pressure environments conflict with INFP sensitivity, increasing burnout risks. Absolutely. Structural rigidity, military hierarchy, and strict protocols oppose INFP's preference for autonomy and flexible thinking. For sure. I was in the Navy for 4 years. And yeah, after 2 years, I was just couldn't wait to get out. I mean, I enjoyed my service and the friends and all that stuff, but yeah, you desire autonomy, and the military structure is definitely tough. Values conflicts, combat roles may force ethical compromises that challenge INFP's strong internal moral compass, for sure. Training challenges, Hell Week, and similar endurance tests prioritize physical grit over INFP strengths in creativity and empathy. 100%. I thought SEAL would get a 2, but it actually got a 3, which I think is pretty high. So that's pretty funny. Move on. Okay, this one wasn't quite land as I would hoped, but a circus clown. I was just thinking this would be really tough. Like performing in front of people would just be like absolutely, and I think it kind of mentions it, but okay, we've got creative outlet for a circus clown, emotional impact, bringing joy to audiences. Yeah, I can see that. Particularly vulnerable groups like hospitalized children, for sure. And I think, as a 9 wing 1 on the Enneagram, I think that this kind of stuff like really, this is one of those examples of like one I wouldn't have thought of necessarily initially as a circus clown, but yeah, that's true. Flexible structure, independent clowning, birthday parties, festivals, offers autonomy in scheduling and act development, appealing to INFP's self-directed tendencies. I think that's, we just like to drive our own ship for sure. So it does kind of hit on that. Unconventional environment. Circus culture's acceptance of eccentricity provides space for INFP's quirky humor and non-traditional perspectives. Again, I think that's also accurate. And some that I necessarily wouldn't, if I was making my own list of pros and cons, I don't know if I would necessarily have a couple of these on my own list. So it's pretty interesting. Emotional labor for the con. Maintaining high energy performances regardless of mood conflicts with INFP's authenticity, needs, and emotional sensitivity, for sure. Public scrutiny. This is probably the one that would kill me as a clown right away. Constant audience focus and pressure to be funny on demand could drain introverts needing regular solitude, for sure. I would wilt very quickly. Physical demands, Physical, financial instability, that'd be a problem. Superficial interactions, brief transactional audience relationships lack the deep connections INFPs crave, for sure. Let's see, I forget what this one scored. This was a 6 out of 10. I think that's a little bit inaccurate. I think a clown is probably around 4, 5. I think 6 is kind of a high score, but hospital clown could be 6, maybe. Okay, now how about INFP as a CIA interrogator? This one I think was so funny. Just the premise of that on its own, without even what AI thought about it, is hilarious. CIA interrogator roles present profound challenges for INFPs due to fundamental conflicts between their core personality traits and the demands of high-stakes intelligence work. Here's the analysis. Empathic insight. INFP's natural ability to sense emotional undercurrents could theoretically help detect deception or hidden motives during interrogations. For sure. That's actually pretty accurate. Probably wouldn't be able to be in the room, but maybe if you're behind the mirror analyzing, I think an INFP could do good in that situation, but not the one necessarily interrogating. Ethical discernment. Their strong value system might prevent abusive interrogation techniques, aligning with modern CIA reforms towards ethical intelligence gathering. Yeah, so this is the kind of no-brainers here in the cons. Emotional contamination. INFP's tendency to absorb others' emotions would be dangerously amplified when facing hostile subjects, risking psychological burnout. 100%. Values conflict. Required use of psychological manipulation directly opposes INFP's authenticity needs, creating chronic moral distress. Yes, stress, vulnerability. The CIA personality test flags emotional stability as critical INFPs. Wait. The CIA personality test flags emotional stability as critical. Right. As needed. INFP sensitivity to criticism and negative emotions could impair performance under pressure. No question. Cognitive mismatch. Interrogators need quick tactical thinking, while INFPs prefer deep values-based processing, causing decision-making paralysis. Again, kind of a no-brainer there. Social compatibility. CIA teams often pair extroverts with introverts, which is interesting. But INFP's preference for harmony clashes with interrogation's adversarial nature. Compatibility score 2, which, okay, I think that's accurate. Could probably even go as a 1, I think. Yeah. Again, just the premise of that is hilarious. I just can't imagine the CIA interrogator as the INFP. That's just funny. Let's do INFP as a coffee shop barista, which seems like it should be pretty compatible. Barista roles offer INFPs a mix of creative fulfillment and interpersonal challenges through the career demands. Though the career demands require careful consideration of personality alignment. Artistic expression, crafting latte art and developing signature drinks allows INFPs to channel their creativity into tangible, visually appealing products. Sure. What do we got? Meaningful connections, building rapport with regular customers aligns with INFP's desire for authentic relationships. Yes. Values, promoting fair trade or sustainability. Not so much, but low pressure entry, no formal education requirements, provide accessible entry. Yeah, that's true. Emotional fatigue, surface level interactions during rush hours conflict with INFP's preference for deep conversations, risking energy depletion. I think so. Yeah, any kind of like when you're going through a pop or when any job that gets real busy, that's for sure a sensory overload and we're going to get overwhelmed quickly. So I can see that, especially if a busier coffee shop is in play. Sensory overload, loud environments and constant activity, 83 decibel noise level average may overwhelm INFP sensitivity to chaotic stimuli. Exactly. Routine rigidity, repeating drink recipes and cleaning protocols 150 times daily contradicts our need for varied intellectually engaging tasks. Yes and no. I kind of agree with that, but I also kind of don't. I mean, sometimes like if I'm just putting a square peg in a square hole every day, like many, many times, that also kind of frees my mind to just daydream. So I might be doing the exact thing repetitively, even 150 days on average. I can kind of do it, but still kind of get lost in my mind doing something, fun in my daydreaming. So I half and half on that. Conflict navigation, handling impatient customers requires emotional armor that 60% of INFPs report finding exhausting long term. Yeah, so I would say with this, like I did wait tables. I was going through college for 3 years, and I did absolutely hate negative customer complaints or the food was bad or I forgot something, that kind of stuff. So initially, I think it is tough, but you do kind of develop that armor it talks about. And after, I would say it took me about 6 or 7 months, actually, I think, to kind of develop that tough skin armor. And after 6 or 7 months, I really couldn't care less about a customer complaint. But in the beginning, I was deathly afraid of a single complaint or mistake on my part. I was so afraid, and it was draining and it was rough. But I think most INFPs will kind of develop that shell, and you just don't give a crap after that. I mean, you're still giving good service. I'm not saying like you're just a terrible server at that point, or like in this case, a barista. Like you're always trying to do the absolute best you can. But if a mistake happens, it's just like it doesn't bother you anymore. And it says a 7 out of 10. I think that's it could be higher depending on the coffee shop. Like a smaller, quieter coffee shop can probably be around 8 or 9, I think, for barista. But all right, let's move on. All right, how about INFP as a VP for an outbound sales department for an auto insurance company? Oh yeah, this is like INFPs were born for this. Not an INFP serving as a VP of an outbound sales department for an auto insurance company presents significant psychological and operational challenges, though limited synergies exist in team culture development, blah, blah, blah. Empathetic leadership. INFPs could foster supportive team environments by recognizing agents' emotional needs, potentially reducing burnout and high turnover rates. Roles. Yeah, I can see that. Values-driven innovation. Their idealism might redirect sales strategies toward ethical practices like accident forgiveness programs or eco-friendly vehicle discounts. Yeah, I think our FI can definitely concoct all kinds of different ways of doing things in that kind of department. But if that's like the only things we could do, that would be great. But of course, that's not what these VPs get paid the big bucks for. They get paid the big bucks for this stuff. Personality task mismatch. Outbound sales requires 80 to 100 cold calls daily. Probably not for the VP, but so it's kind of mixing it up here. I mean, you're going to be, anyways, directly conflicting with INFP's need for meaningful interactions and distaste for transactional communication. Conflict avoidance. As 72% of sales VPs report weekly tough decisions like layoffs, target enforcement, INFP's reluctance to deliver harsh feedback would impair departmental performance. But yeah, for sure, those would be really, really tough. Like, as an INFP, laying off someone or having to fire someone would be absolutely brutal. Like, I would probably lose sleep for a couple of days if I had to lay off someone. Or even delivering bad news, like our numbers are off, and then that'd be tough. Very, very tough. Stress, vulnerability, the roles, 60-hour work weeks, and 2 million quarterly targets contradict INFP sensitivity to high pressure environments 100%. I even just get breaking into a cold sweat just thinking about that. Cognitive friction, concrete sales metrics, call time quotas, conversation rates, oppose INFP's preference for abstract values-based thinking 100%. Like, just that would be hell. Concrete sales metrics, quotas, conversion rates, absolute hell. Ethical dilemmas, aggressive commission structures, and scripted persuasion tactics often clash with INFP integrity, evidenced by 68% of insurance sales VPs reporting moral discomfort with upselling tactics. Yeah, appearing kind of slimy, having to be inauthentic, with these kind of upsells and sneaky like sales tactics, for sure. Like, I think 4 is a bit high. I would personally score this a 2. Like, I'd be absolutely miserable. Like, I probably would last about 1 day in this job, unless I had just an amazing team and everyone was very cool and that sort of thing. Like, maybe I'd last a month, but no more than a month. But if I'm like overseeing an office full of typical sales ESTJ types, I'd probably quit in 1 day. All right, what do you have next? Now for an INFP as a cable company sales associate positioned in Costco stores who sell to Costco customers passing by. And I see this all the time. And I always walk around. If you happen to be a Costco member, like, do you walk behind the station like I always do? I'm sure you do. Like, no one just walks in front of the sales waiting to be, tapped or, oh, excuse me, sir. I avoid them, but I've always thought of that position as INFP. So let's see what Perplexity has to say. Cable company sales roles in Costco stores present a unique mix of opportunities and challenges for INFPs, balancing their natural strengths and empathy against the demands of proactive selling. Focused interactions. Costco's membership model attracts customers already open to services, reducing pure cold calling and allowing INFPs to focus on consultative selling. Stretching it a bit there. Tangible problem solving, blah, blah. Controlled environment. Costco's reputation for quality creates implicit trust, letting INFPs leverage authenticity rather than aggressive tactics. Okay. Although I've heard, like, in the times I have been stopped by, one of these guys, they definitely get aggressive. They don't take no for an answer, all these kind of stuff. So I'm not sure that's the case. Creative customization, designing, yeah, who cares? Cons, energy drain, for sure. Approaching 200 plus shoppers daily in warehouse noise, average of 85 decibels. Risks overwhelming INFP sensory sensitivity without question. Just thinking about that it's so hilarious to me. 200 shoppers daily. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Can you imagine that? Script constraints, corporate mandated sales pitches, limited time bundles, etc. Conflict with INFP's need for authentic communication. Yeah, absolutely. Like, we are not corporate beings in any shape, corporate speak for that matter, or, directives from corporate on how to do sales. Yeah. Clash with INFP big time. Metrics pressure, daily conversion targets, typically 16 to 20%. Dude, that's a lot. I wouldn't even, as an INFP, if I had to do this, I'd probably be at 4% or lower for sure. I would absolutely take no for an answer right away. I would not want to pester anyone. Yeah, so surface level engagement, 3 to 5 minute interactions prevent deep connections for sure. Optimization strategies, which I couldn't care less about. 5.5. I think that's kind of high, again, for the compatibility score. What would you give it? I would give it, that could honestly be a 2 or a 3. I would be very miserable doing this. Okay, how about another one that's kind of a nightmare? INFP is a door-to-door salesman selling cable and internet services. That would be tough. Kind of like Costco, but going door to door, I think, is a whole nother level. Door-to-door sales roles for cable internet services present significant challenges for INFPs through creative adaptation, blah, blah, blah. So empathetic listening, INFP's natural ability to understand customers' pain points. Yeah, not buying it too much, but it's a thing. Values alignment, framing sales as connecting families or enabling telemedicine access. Satisfy INFP's need for purposeful work. That's again like a pretty big stretch. Creative problem solving. Okay, let's go to the challenges. Emotional bombardment, 68% rejection rates. I think it's got to be higher than that. It's probably higher than that. But the rejection rates and hostile interactions, 23% of prospects show aggression. Oh, man. Like, one door slams in my face, I'm out. Bye. Yeah, INFP sensitivity. Yeah, so that's, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, we're all a little bit of a snowflake. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. We are not this, yeah. Authenticity barriers, scripted pitches about limited time offers create cognitive dissonance, similar to the Costco above. 89% of INFPs report physical nausea when forced to use manipulative tactics. Physical nausea, I love that. Energy depletion, approaching 150 plus homes daily requires extroversion stamina that drains 92% of INFPs within 3 hours. Beyond how many doors could you knock on in a day? I'm guessing 3 for me, and I'm getting in my car and quitting. Just 3 is probably my max. Moral distress, commission structures prioritizing expensive packages over customer needs, clash with INFP ethics. Yeah, for sure. What do you think it is? 4. Door to door? No way. I am. So yeah, we're going to move on to one that I thought would be super compatible. INFP as a science fiction and fantasy novelist. I love science fiction. I love fantasy. I haven't really tried to write, but I can see myself attempting that at some point. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's definitely, I think, in the INFP wheelhouse for sure. Science fiction and fantasy novel writing aligns strongly with INFP personality strengths while presenting challenges that require strategic navigation. Unbound creativity. I like that choice of that word, unbound, that's for sure. INFPs excel at constructing intricate fantasy realms and emotionally resonant sci-fi concepts, leveraging their dominant NE to explore what-if scenarios and FI to infuse stories with moral depth. 100%. I mean, that just speaks to how and why there are so many great INFP novelists. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, a bazillion others, but I mean, those are two huge ones. Values-driven storytelling, the genres allow INFPs to explore philosophical questions about identity, ethics, and human connection through allegorical narratives. Yep. Autonomous workflow, solitary writing processes align with INFP's need for independent creative spaces free from external pressures. Probably one of the biggest pros, I would think. Like, imagine if you are able to actually put out these novels and you've got kind of like an income coming from it, and literally all you do is just write for a living, at a coffee shop, in a nook in your house, or wherever, just by yourself, creating these worlds. Oh my gosh, heaven. Emotional resonance. INFP's empathy enables authentic character development, particularly for outsider protagonists, common in both genres. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, let's go to cons. World building overwhelm. Fantasy's limitless possibilities can paralyze INFP's decision making, with 68% reporting abandoned projects due to too many ideas. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. You just need to be as organized as possible, mapping out your world and characters. And, but that's something honestly AI could handle. AI could definitely help out with that. Just upload all the characters and just kind of have it track your story arcs and that kind of stuff. It could help, I'm sure. Anyways, scientific rigor demands hard sci-fi's technical accuracy requirements conflict with INFP's preference for symbolic or literal truth, risking creative burnout. I can definitely see that. I mean, you're going to have to keep track of all these kind of futuristic the technology in the future. You're going to have, if you want to create like a certain ability that man can do in the future, you're going to have to like make it plausible. You're going to have some kind of scientific knowledge to make it believable, all that kind of stuff. I read science fiction, and I very much appreciate an author's ability to create those kind of anyways, you see what I'm saying. Marketing challenges, self-promotion necessities, social media conventions drain introverts, with 73% of INFP authors citing publicity as their least favorite task. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, engaging with people, interfacing with people when you don't want to, that's tough. Perfectionism traps. FI-SI loops drive endless revisions. J.K. Rowling, INFP, oh yeah, there's one right there, rewrote Harry Potter's first chapter 15 times before satisfaction. That's a lot of times. Imagine a whole book with 30 chapters. I mean, just, 8.5 out of 10. I think that was the highest of all that I did. So, yeah, I mean, that could easily be a 9 or a 10, especially if maybe you have your own marketing team, or, your agent or book publisher does all the marketing for you. And maybe like they'll allow you to do only like online interviews and things like that for promotion. that could be like a 10. Like if literally all you're doing is writing, and that'd be amazing. So that could be like a 10 in my mind. Maybe not for all INFPs, but I think majority of INFPs would like find that to be like a 9 or a 10. Okay. Fiction novel proofreader. I'm not going to go through that one. That's, it's okay. I could see myself doing that, but it talked about repetition and perfectionism traps, but you can pause it and kind of read through it if you like, but I'm not going to go through it. That was a 6.5 out of 10, which I think is about accurate. And last but not least, we have INFP as a cult leader of a sect numbering over 100 members. And this is obviously a shout out to our dear Vondelpiet, who has ambitions to be a cult leader. No question would be the first, I think, INFP cult leader in the world. But let's see what AI has to say about this. Cult leaderships presents profound ethical and psychological conflict for INFPs through their natural charisma, it's hard to read, though their natural charisma and idealism could theoretically be weaponized in destructive ways. Here's the analysis. The potential leverage strengths, visionary persuasion, INFP's ability to articulate utopian ideals, spiritual awakening communities, could attract disillusioned seekers craving purpose. Empathetic grooming. Their natural sensitivity allows precise targeting of vulnerable individuals' emotional needs during recruitment phases. Yeah, I think we probably could be good at that. All as diabolical as that is, that makes sense. Moral justification. FI-driven conviction could rationalize manipulation as necessary for higher good. Similar to historical cult leaders like Jim Jones and EFJ, mixing social justice rhetoric with control tactics. Yeah. So let's get on to the catastrophic conflicts. Authenticity rupture. I mean, that's saying something. Maintaining cult leader personas requires daily deception that 89% of INFPs describe as soul-destroying in psychological studies. Empathic overload. Absorbing followers' traumas while enforcing dogma creates psychological fractures. 76 of INFP leaders in high control groups develop dissociative disorders. I can see that. Conflict avoidance failure. Cult maintenance demands brutal enforcement of compliance, directly imposing INFP's aversion to confrontation. That's amazing. Cult maintenance demands brutal enforcement of compliance. This is true, and I think we would fail miserably at that. Values corruption. Systemic manipulation, exploitation destroys the INFP's core identity, as 68% report suicidal ideation when forced into prolonged unethical leadership, for sure. No brainer there. So let's see what 0.5 out of 10 is the compatibility score, which I think is about accurate. 0.5. So Vondelpiet, I know it's been a dream of yours, but gonna have to ask you to continue the discernment and keep these factors in mind. Don't think it's compatible with INFP personality type. So anyhow, that was a lot of fun. I hope you found it interesting and humorous. I thought the ones the extreme incompatible jobs, I think quite hilarious. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Talk soon, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.